Collective, hello, my loves. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Um, Gratitude and blessings for all that you do, all that you embody, the magnitude of skills and gifts and understanding and knowledge and um, all of it. Just like gratitude for all that you are. Um, Today we got welcome presence. And that card is the idea of practicing presence, right? Presence in our everyday lives, presence in the moments of solitude, presence in the conversations that we have, with the people that we are having those conversations with. I don't know. Well, I think about the boys when the boys were little, and they have something to say, I would always drop whatever it was that I was doing and sit down and engage in that conversation with them, because there's nothing more important than that moment, in that, in that conversation, and those thoughts, even if they're, about Pokemon or something that really bears no significance in the end. What bears significance is the presence in that moment. I miss that. I miss that with my children. But whether it's with your friends, with your coworkers, with your, with your self, with spirit, it is important to be present and honor each other, honor ourselves, honor spirit, because to go back to, the idea of like the conversation with spirit, right? Spirit is always talking to us. It's just whether or not we're willing to listen. And it's typically that, the times when we're not listening are those moments when we aren't practicing presence, because we're all over the place, mentally, emotionally, however that plays out for us individually. But there's definitely this sense of really just needing to practice presence where you're at, practice presence with the people that you're with. Nothing is so important that you can't just stop for a minute and honor either a conversation with another human being, or honor, the time that spirit sits with you and shares with you, what you need to know, or, even just offers you a sense of connection, because sometimes when we feel disconnected from the world, the best thing we can do is connect with spirit, because spirit will never be too busy for you. Damn, we've got the 5 of Wands, the 10 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, and the 10 of Wands. This to me feels like, well, when people just want to attack you, like if you've ever dealt with a community of people who just hate for the sake of hating, I feel like MAGA is really and truly like the easiest point of reference for that is general, and we can all relate to, like the hate mongering that exists in our society currently. Even something as simple as today is National Indigenous Peoples Day, and Trump can shut down the government, but can make time to change the name back and switch the rhetoric up and do damage in every way that he can to continue a genocide, because what he seeks is genocide. And the people who support him seek that too. Whether they do it directly or indirectly, consciously or subconsciously, it is a reality. Now, that's a very big example. You can bring that down and you can say, like you're dealing with an unhealthy, work environment, or a toxic group of people, a toxic community. However that plays out for you, there is just this sense of really needing to separate from a what I think ultimately feels like streamlined abuse, whether that's through gaslighting or, because abuse is never, well, is often very deliberate and belligerent, but I think more commonly it is indirect. It is passive aggressive. It is manipulative. It is conniving. You know what I mean? It's backhanded. Well, I personally will never operate from the mentality of keep your friends close and your enemies closer, because I think that you're just inviting trouble that way. I think that if you've got enemies around you, your shit's going to get fucked up, period. So if somebody presents themselves as an enemy, the best thing you can do is turn around and walk away. And if there are people who, well, yeah, because I always think, like, if somebody comes to me, and I haven't had this happen in a while, but if somebody came to me and they shared with me, oh, this person said this, this, and this, oh, actually, that's not true. The last job that I worked at, there was this woman there, and there, for whatever reason, there was a woman who was just like a bad personality. But I never, it was whatever. She was rude to me all the time, just like aggressively rude about stupid shit that like anybody else would be just like a basic conversation about. And there was another woman, and she would always be like, "Oh, well, I heard this, 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 and this," and I knew the only person who would talk shit about me, because I got along with everybody, was this one person, and I didn't want anything to do with any of them, because if somebody is comfortable talking shit about me to you, why are they comfortable saying that to you? Because they wouldn't be comfortable saying that to just anybody, but they're comfortable saying it to you. So now I know where you stand in terms of people who I would fuck with, right? I mean, that's just kind of my standard mode of operatum. And, I've found that it can be very isolating to operate in that way. And yet, I also can recognize the fact that the more discernment I practice and the firmer I hold my boundaries, the less drama, the less stress, the calmer my nervous system, the clearer my communication with spirit. And so is it really a loss? My opinion, no way. Absolutely not. Has it felt like a loss on occasion? Yes. But never enough to make me want to go back to anything that was unhealthy or toxic, because it's like poison. It's like drinking poison. Why would I choose to fill my spirit with your poison? And I don't know. Like I said, I know that not everybody thinks that way. But the people who don't think that way, I think, tend to just kind of thrive in like power struggles and confrontation, and like they just want a reason to fight, they want a reason to be angry, and so they seek it out. It feeds their ego, and so like there's that, which is just more soullessness and more poison. And so again, discernment, I will always advocate for discernment. And I feel like somebody here is going through a situation where you've just felt extremely under attack, where you felt like, who can I trust in all of this? Because maybe you're not the one saying it, but you certainly are sitting around listening to it. And so that's going to, you've drank poison, and therefore that poison is going to take its hold in your system, right? It will find its place in your system, and therefore your system is corrupt, and you know what I mean? So to tie that into, like just having a spiritual practice, and the way in which life can sweep us away, and alter the frequency and alter the understandings, like it's not always something that that we do, oftentimes it's something that we experience, you know? And I feel like this is, this is the idea of an experience, something that's being experienced. And because it's something that you're experiencing, it's something that you have to pull back from. It's something that you have to really, I think, just like sit for a minute and practice some presence, because if you have experienced that, then you have in some form or fashion consumed the poison of these people. So you have to keep cleansing, right? You have to keep your daily practices, whether you're just going to the gym and working out, or you're doing meditation, you're doing flow, you're doing, like whatever it is for you that allows for you to really just like sit with spirit, practice presence, like, or if you're, you're sitting with a friend and having a cup of coffee and a sincere conversation, and having that moment where you feel seen and you feel heard, because oftentimes what those communities seek to do is to rob you of your voice, to rob you of your experience, to gaslight you out of the authenticity of who you are, and what you stand for, and how you experience life. And that's a heavy burden to carry. And it's one that I think many have just felt like, I don't think that I'm ever going to get to put this pack down, this pack of burdens, this pack of thieves. I don't know, because it'll play out differently for everyone. But I think that that's ending. I just think that first you have to filtrate the poison. So whether that's, again, connecting with someone who understands, or just connecting with spirit, and, having a personal practice that helps you to, like filter that out, recognize what is of me, what is not of me, what is of spirit, what is of the world, constantly, like using that filtration. Because I think that once you filter out the poison, you're either going to be communicating something or receiving communication, because the Eight of Wands is the idea of like a quick communication, clear, concise, pointed. It's usually one of those like forms of communication where it's like, this is what I need to talk about, and this is why I need to talk about it, and this is da 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 da. The outlined detail, right? Yesterday we were talking about how spirit doesn't always offer us like an outlined detail. But when you sit with spirit, when you filter out the poison, when you do all of those things, then I think you're able to articulate what it is that you want to articulate, because I think you have a better understanding of it, because it's an understanding that is truly aligned with you in spirit, not aligned with you in others, not aligned with you in ego. You know what I mean? It's clean. And when you have a clean filter, you are able to communicate with a clean, clear, concise manner. And I think step into those new beginnings. The Fool. Let's read the Fool. Okay. Tied to new beginnings, to everything that has just been born or is about to be born. It is the lightness, the ability to dare and trust in one's future, the Zero card from which everything starts and to which we will return. Contains the fresh, dynamic energy of what has just been born. The Fool takes responsibility for fully experiencing the here and now. She appears like a mirage, accompanied by the wolf, watching the day in the making while sitting in the corolla of a flower. Perhaps she has decided to flee from the mountain scene in the background. Decided to flee from the mountain scene in the background. The flowers support her as she carries out new, bright ideas. She is associated with the first light of dawn, the dawning day. The associated plant is morning glory, which refers to the Ipomoea. I don't do Latin. Plants in the convolvulus See a family that bloom at first light and close by early afternoon. Well, I love that because it's the idea of practicing presence again. And when you have cleared out or cleaned out that poison, is what we're going to call it, whether that's influence or opinion or perspective or whatever, however it presents itself to you, I just kind of feel like that's gone. And when it's gone, there's just so much more clarity that follows. And when clarity follows, you can see which direction you need to go. Because it's when things are all muddy and fuddled that it's like, I don't know what to do, and it's like, do you not know what to do? Or are you just not comfortable enough with slowing down long enough to really discern what needs to be done, right? And for my leaders out there, that can be one of the most important things to do, and also one of the things that is the easiest to overlook because you have the most responsibility, right? And so it's important to set time aside to slow down, to digest, to integrate, to filtrate, to understand what others have an inability to comprehend, because that's the task that you've been handed. Yeah, I feel like a sense of like a bird's eye view, but with this bird's eye view, there is this sense of like a precision, because you have like an awareness of this like full terrain. And when you have an awareness of the full terrain and you've slowed down long enough to comprehend what that means and how it means that and all of those things, there is a sense of renewal in that, because now you have a point of direction, right? Now you have a means of articulation. Because if you were confused, if you were feeling overwhelmed, if you were feeling like enemies are everywhere, I can trust no one, which is real a lot of times. I don't know, I feel like a sense of a safe landing. A safe landing that isn't just a safe place to land, but it is an intentional direction that you are taking that comes with a sense of security in that it is guided through clarity. However that resonates for us as individuals. Because that's big. Yeah, today's been kind of crazy. I don't know, we left work a little bit early today because there's like a severe weather warning. And it was like downpouring, hail. There was a tree down on the road. It's fine now. But that's what this read feels like. It feels like utter chaos and then just like this. Everything's fine. The Fool again, I love this. And communication, again, I think that there was a sense of fear in this communication. I think that this fear was backed by previous experiences of mistreatment, of poor comprehension, of all that entails, Because if you deal with it enough in life, right, it's really difficult. And I know because I struggle with this myself. But when you deal with that a lot in life, it's really difficult to really trust, oftentimes, because, it feels like anytime anybody comes at you with anything, there is just this idea and mentality of like, oh, do you think you're the first person who's done that? Oh, do you think you're the first sick fuck that I've ever had to deal with? You know what I mean? Like, do you think you're the only soulless human being who I've had to, like stand toe to toe against? You know what I mean? And so when you are constantly in a world that feels that way, yeah, we feel hesitant. We feel some type of way about a lot of things, most things, all things, because why wouldn't we? And so we pull away, we disconnect, we reconnect with spirit, we reconnect with self, and we filtrate the poison. When we filtrate the poison, we are able to practice discernment, right? That eagle's eye perspective. I think in part because we know who is able to understand us and why they're able to understand us. Well, I think for my ones who are connected to spirit, there's definitely an advantage because when you are connected to spirit, you are connected to those who are connected to spirit. And so I don't have to, like, I would rather have spirit vouch on my behalf than people. And that's not to say that everyone who is connected to spirit utilizes that responsibly. Because I know people who are connected to spirit who would listen to ignorance over spirit. And, quite frankly, I have zero respect for those people. And so again, there's that, like, you don't know what you're dealing with and you don't know how you're dealing with it and you don't know because this is what I've experienced here and 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 here. You think you're the first motherfucker I've had to deal with? Like, bitch, please. Which is real. And I feel that way. And I know y'all feel that way. And I get it. But I think also oftentimes we can recognize that in people and like solidarity to the ones out there who know that struggle, who know that feel. I think we tend to be a little bit more patient with each other because of that, because like, I'm not going to get mad at you for feeling some type of way when I feel that type of way too. You know what I mean? And because we have, those of us who have slowed down and taken the time to connect with spirit and connect with self and to honor, like the sacred journey and honor our sacred purpose. When you are honoring what is sacred, it is also, and I think we're all aware of this, like there are many things that are sacred. Like any purpose that you're looking at, there are so many people who are going to be involved with that. And they're going to be involved in different ways and in different areas and in different things. They're going to be representing the different parts of the whole. But yeah, I mean, like attracts like. I think that, like people who have shared experiences are able to recognize that, honor the process of that and, and walk with spirit. Into the new directions that I think offer us a sense of freedom from feeling under attack. Because I think there's a sense of freedom in expression. Because what I could say to one group of people that would serve as medicine, I could say to another group of people and they would be like, oh my God, my demons are popping out now. Fucking Becky's, There are a lot of people in this world that I just don't fuck with, y'all. I can't. I won't ever. Um, yeah, and I think part of my filtration process has also been recognizing and honoring the fact that not only do I not fuck with those people, but I don't fuck with the people who wanna cater to those people, who wanna temper on behalf of those people, because those people's feelings are gonna get hurt. Now I'm gonna fight all y'all fuckers. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of like energy that comes out. Um, and and again, it's that like line of like, does this horrific mentality and behavior never end? I have to separate myself from it. I have to isolate myself from it. I have to recognize that no, not only do I not fuck with those people, but I don't fuck with their friends, and I don't fuck with their mentality, and I don't fuck with those communities, you know? And these are the reasons why I don't. My people, in the end, because I'm still finding my people, will share in that mentality. You know, will share in that feeling of discernment. Will honor like the firmness of the boundaries that are necessary to not allow poison that has poisoned so many on so many levels to enter into what is sacred, right? Get your poison and your poisonous friends and your poisonous colleagues and your poisonous whatever all the way the fuck away, right? Yeah, I guess it's protection. I guess I'm feeling very protective, you know, for me, of myself. At times of other people, at times of the world at large, you know, because how can you look at the world and not just cry sometimes? And how can you look at the people who sit back and act like it's not their problem, or sit back and say, well, but we need to play nice and we need to show compassion for the people who never show compassion for us. You know what I mean? And we need to make sure that they have full reign of everything and that you get nothing. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you. You know, like, rage. I don't know. I've experienced it so many times in my life, so many different communities, so many different arenas. You couldn't pay me to associate with certain people, you know? So I get it. I support it. I would never question it. You know, like, in fact, I would encourage it. I would say, good for you for standing up for yourself, and thank you for expressing what needs to be expressed, because everybody else just wants to temper it, ignore it, or perpetuate it. You know, and again, I just feel like that is for those of us who have lived that. You know, like, we are not angry at each other for wanting to protect what is sacred. I think the anger comes from those who want us to ignore it, to be quiet, to whatever it is that they've asked of us, you know. Justice, I love that, because yes, I don't want to deal with that shit anymore. I don't want to deal with those people anymore, you know, like, I don't want to. And, you know, the idea here is that you're not having to, that you took the time to practice presence. You took the time to dream, to, you know, like, to sit with your vision, you know, like, what is your vision? What is your big vision? I don't want to share mine. I'm not on a public platform. Not when I have people who have been watching me for years trying to seek my demise and casting magic against me and all that other bullshit. You know, like, that is something that is for me in spirit, and, you know, the people who I share that with personally, you know. But what's yours? You know, what's your big dream? What's your vision? How do you see impacting change? Who do you see yourself aligning with, and how do you see that being a part of your vision? You know, these are all really important questions, and I think questions that we don't always have the energy to address, which again has been coming through from my creatives who are feeling stuck or blocked, or just like it doesn't matter if they have all of these ideas, or you know, like if you have all these ideas and you have all these things that you can do, but every time you go to do it, you're faced with all of these people who have no concept of sacred, you know, and they seek to corrupt it with their maybe variations of poison. And so I think that, you know, what this is really saying with the Fool twice, the practicing presence, the Justice, the Magician, the Empress, the Three of Wands, and the Three of Cups, this is the idea of finding a community that you can create with, being able to really, I think, bring those big visions into fruition. The Empress is the idea of harvest, right? You've got the ideas, you've got things that you've been sitting with where you're like, I really would like to do this. I really see, this is what I see, and this is how I see it taking form, and this is whatever, you know, like insert your dreams and your ideas accordingly. That you have felt like you haven't been able to carry out because you haven't been connected with the right people. You haven't had, you know, like maybe you haven't really been able to create it in the way that you wanted to create it, because every time you went to, you know, like do something, there was that voice of those people or that community or that audience that you're trying to please that was like, well, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or nobody's gonna like it if, or da 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 da. And it's like, you know what? Nobody likes you, so shut up, go away, fuck those people. You know what I mean? Fuck them. Sit with you. Sit with your vision. You have that vision for a reason. Spirit didn't give that to you for no reason. And Spirit protected it along the way with reason. Because if what you are doing, because what you are doing is sacred, because what you are doing is impactful, it is also contingent on divine timing, because I think that's a factor that people love to just discredit. You know, they want here, they want now, they want immediate, and they want poisoned. And so you can give them whatever, but like the heart of what it is that you've been handed from Spirit, that vision, that is not for them to touch. I think that's why the going dark and what else? What other read did we have? I feel like the going dark one. I don't remember what the title of that one was though. It was the one in the basement, but where you don't have people telling you like what you have to create, how you have to create it, and why you have to create it. Whatever that vision is for you, I feel like that's what you're stepping into. And you're stepping into it because you've learned a lot of lessons from all of these communities, from all these stipulations that I think in the end, you had to leave behind. Yeah, I mean, always. These are general reads. You can apply that to anything. I think for me, it's just like my vision involves creativity. So, you know, but like what else? Relationships, yes. You know, like if you have wanted a healthy, loving relationship and you just feel like all the only, keep hitting the cord, sorry y'all. The only options available are people who are going to embody all of the same things that the people who I wouldn't want to work with you. I wouldn't want to, you know, like I'm not so desperate to go out on a date that I'm willing to just go out on a date with somebody who I know ultimately, like I'm not even going to enjoy the conversation. I'm going to disagree with everything that you say. Yeah, the last guy that I went on a few dates with him, and literally at one point in time, I was like, dude, the next time you say something like that to me, I'm literally going to smack you in your face. never hung out again after that because I was like, he was like, oh, I don't promote physical violence. I was like, I don't promote physical violence either, but I also don't promote being perpetually disrespected on some shit. You know what I mean? I don't know if I actually would have smacked him, but I wanted to make my point very clear. Like, you're pissing me off. You know what I mean? I don't fuck with this. And because I had said not once, not twice, like 3 times, this is not okay with me. This is not okay with me. While yes, I already knew that I wasn't going to like hang out with him anymore. I also, just because of the fact that I had to listen to it, wanted to make sure that I was very clear on how repulsive I found it to be. Well, and he was one of those fuckers who just wanted to love bomb anyways, you know, like, and dudes love to love bomb. You don't know me, you don't love me, you want to fuck me, and you want to throw me into your life and completely ignore who I am as a human being. You know what I mean? Like, you and every other fucking dickhead on the face of the planet. You know what I mean? Like, go, move, shoot. And that's how I felt, you know? So I don't enjoy it because I just like fucking shitheads everywhere. Not all men, just most. So love, yeah, you know, like, would I love to fall in love sincerely with somebody who I had things in common with somebody who saw me as a human being, who was connected to spirit, who wanted what I want out of life? Yes, that would mean everything in the world to me, and I would be so grateful, and I would love that person with everything that I had, you know? And I would make sure that they knew how loved and appreciated they were, because after all the years I spent not having that, I would have so much gratitude in my heart towards that person. You know what I mean? Like, and because I would love that person, I would want to like hold that relationship in a sacred place, you know, which means that like I would go to I would go to bat for that person, you know, like I would lay down my life for that person. I would do anything and everything to keep that person safe and to hold that sacred space for them, because to me a relationship is like a should be a sacred soul connection, you know, an intimate heartfelt connection. And yeah, you know, and yes, fun and laughter and friends and community and family and joy and all of the beautiful things. But you can't have that if you have people who can't appreciate you for who you are, or want to constantly change things about you, or want you to, you know, like ease your boundaries because, well, you shouldn't talk about that around them. That's going to upset them. Or, you know, like you should really just, you know, adhere to this or adhere to that. But I'm sorry, if there's somebody in your life who's constantly asking you to like dim your light or quiet your voice or temper your rage when you are embodying righteous rage, those are not your people. Yeah. And again, you know, like dating relationships in the most generic of terms oftentimes are just that: people who are sexually attracted to one another, who are willing to just plop into lives that like ultimately they don't belong in, or maybe they do, they fit there just fine. You know, they're willing to make the like, and I'm not saying compromise is bad. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know. You know, I'm not saying like compromise is bad. You know, you should always be able to compromise and accommodate. But like in terms of protecting your creativity, in terms of protecting your sacred vision, and in terms of protecting your sacred relationships, you know, like that compromise should be with each other, not with the outside world. And you should never compromise things that compromise your integrity, compromise your sacred self, you know, or anything of that nature. I don't think you're going to have to. I think that you're connecting with people who are connected well with you. And I think part of that reason, again, is the idea of filtration. from the lessons that we learned, because sometimes we have to learn the hard way, right? We have to learn not to sacrifice our integrity. We have to learn to not sacrifice our time and energy into people who just want to, ignore who we are as people, I don't know, I guess y'all wanted to talk about it, so we're talking about it, but I'm okay with that. I feel very passionately about all of those things, friends, same thing, like people who I hold dear and hold close to me are people who share in those ideas with me. Yeah, yeah. Well, because when you are walking with purpose, when you are walking with sacred self, when you are walking with spirit, you can't just be frivolous with your time and your energy and your communities, you have to practice discernment. And that's been coming through in a lot of ways in these reads. And I feel like through that process of understanding within ourselves, we've learned to filter out the poison. We've learned to practice more discernment. And we are coming into communities that align with our sacred selves, whether that's in relationship, in creative projects, in professional endeavors, or just friends and community. Um, there's newness on the horizon. I feel like we just wanted to talk about all the other stuff first. Let's see what else we get. We're already 40 minutes in. Four of Pentacles and Knight of Cups. Hold on, sorry, dropping it on the floor. Six of Wands. Oof, Ten of Swords again. Well, again, that backstabbing, that feeling burdened, that feeling like better off on your own. Work on what you have to work on. Heal what needs to be healed within you, so that when opportunity presents itself, you are prepared. Yesterday was, are you ready? I feel like today is like, okay, well, how are you preparing? And I think in a lot of ways, preparation is in honoring, like, who are you? What is it that you align with? What is it that you are seeking? Because you're not seeking something shallow. You're not seeking something frivolous. You're not seeking something that compromises who you are or what you do or what you stand for, I think you seek integrity that matches your own integrity, purpose that matches your purpose, passion that matches your passion. Yeah, I would have. Jack of Clovers. The order denotes honor and recognition of labor, a sure sign of business success. Yeah, I feel like good things on the horizon. Like first you just had to like clear your space, clean out the poison, filter out the things that needed to be filtered out. And sometimes that can be a really long process. It's not something that happens overnight. I feel like it's something that you've probably been addressing for quite some time. It's just now really like coming up as a point of like a topic of conversation in these past few reads. Although honestly, I think it's been present in the reads for a hot minute. But I feel like be encouraged that what is meant for you will be finding you. Brave the journey. I feel like that's kind of the idea of like the journey that we just discussed, like it is a journey to understand, to gain understanding. It is a journey to gain insight. It is a journey to not only, gain insight and understanding of the world, but also of ourselves. And I feel like, I don't know, I woke up the other morning and I'm not sure exactly like how to articulate it, but something shifted, something changed. And in a really big way, it felt like a spiritual closure that I was experiencing. And I felt very grateful for that feeling because it served to me is a marker of that next journey, you know. Um, a flag of preparation. Yeah, that's cute. Um, well, anyways, this was fun. This is interesting. If this does resonate with you, please do give me a like, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all again soon. Bye.